OMG, we are back, and we are back for good, and we're consistently posting every week. The grind is real. I'm so grateful and happy to be joined by my co-host. His name is Danielewa, and he's over here to my right. Could you say hi?
Hi. I'm excited to be here.
How was your week and everything?
Let's just get to the good stuff.
You guys thought we were going to do that with a weekly roundup of our thoughts and feelings and then get into some content. Psych, we're actually going to get straight into it. Did you guys watch this show? Was it cash or was it trash? Was it heat or was it delete? Today we're doing a comprehensive review of the LEGO Ahsoka sets. There are 3 of them, and kind of with a sort of retrospect now because this show is complete. Spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. We will be talking about every single spoiler, every single episode in the show, and how it translated over to the 3 LEGO sets that they created for this theme. I'm really excited, and hey, let's just jump into it.
Starting off, we have the New Republic E-Wing versus Shin Hati Starfighter. Yet another fantastic dual pack following up the TIE Interceptor versus Fang Fighter from Mando Season 3 earlier this year, which was a really fun set and great to have 2 awesome ships in one package. I love how colorful this is, and we'll see this very colorful trend continue with all the sets in this wave, and that's something very refreshing to see in LEGO Star Wars.
I think we're going to have a little yin and yang here between Daniel and me and Daniel. We may have a little bit of yin yang here because he said colorful. Okay, great. A kind of a blue and a mustard ship. After watching the show, I do kind of remember Shin Hati's fighter, the red and yellow one. I could not tell you when the other one showed up ever. What is this? The Q wing or something? I don't even know.
No, it's the E-Wing, and it's brought over from old Legends Star Wars stuff into canon. It was only in the very first episode, but it looks great on screen, and it translates pretty well to a LEGO set. Even though you don't really see it much in the show, it doesn't play a big role. It still makes for a great display.
So here's oh no, it was in the first episode. In case you missed it, Sabine Wren was being shown off as she is so rebellious and cool. She slides under this E-Wing, and the astromech, his mind explodes at how awesome she was. Now, we actually do get to see that astromech in LEGO form. He's right here. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Actually, Daniel, before I talk about the minifigures, how do you think this set compares from the live action to the LEGO version?
Really favorably. You can see like all of even the blue stripes and everything were really faithfully brought over, and it's really nice. Maybe the cockpit could have been a little smoother on top, but I think it looks spot on.
Yeah, it does look cool in the show too, with that screenshot that we have here, and that is cool. It's from Legends. I didn't know that, but I didn't love it in the show per se. The Shin Hati version, this one actually looks pretty accurate to the live action one. It's not bad. I don't see how they could have done any better.
No, like the front gives me big pod racer vibes, and also, of course, like World War II fighter plane vibes. But again, this is a really great translation from screen to brick.
Yeah, I was definitely getting pod racer too. Also, the side things and the middle thing was getting pod racer. This may be somewhat controversial, and I don't know if I'm literally the only one here. I think out of the 3 sets, this one, on average, has the best minifigures. I know there's cool minifigures in the other ones, but this one, they're all pretty solid. Even with the generic New Republic guy, that is a cool looking New Republic figure. It's really unique to me with that yellow and blue unique astromech. And then 2 of the best characters of the show, even though I guess they didn't do anything. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. He gave such a good performance. Let's go ahead and look at the comparison of the minifigures to the live actions. When you see Ray Stevenson on the screen, you just felt his presence. So it'd be really cool to have that minifigure and to honor him. But what do you think? Am I completely wrong that these figures are pretty cool?
No, you're completely right. This is really awesome set. The fact that you get the majority of the baddies, especially having Morgan, because she played a much bigger role in the finale than we could have anticipated. Of course, they didn't include like the Sword of Talzin or anything, which would have been cool. But the other omission, the big omission, I think, is for Balin and Shin. They're missing any sort of cape or cloak or shoulder armor of any kind, and so they feel in minifig form that they're kind of lacking that presence and heft and that they had in the show. But otherwise, it's awesome to have.
You're actually right. Those minifigures are kind of missing a lot of accessories that they definitely could have had. Ray Stevenson definitely could have had shoulder pads. She definitely could have had a cape. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And the fact that they're red lightsabers instead of the orange that was used in the show, that's a little bit of a because they're not actually red lightsaber users.
Yeah, a little cut corner there.
That's okay.
Overall, 0 out of 10. How do you feel about New Republic versus E-Wing versus Shin Hati Fighter after the show came out?
After show 8, it's a great set, but it's not super relevant to the show, and maybe the figures could have used a bit more.
Dang, 8, and that's pretty high. The second one, I don't know what I would rate it. And I don't even think I'm going to rank him. I'm just going to ask Daniel for his ranking because he's smarter. But the second biggest set, we're going from smallest to biggest, is the Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle. If you're a real OG, you had this set in the Clone Wars era where it's more white and red and came with a bunch of Jedi. And if Daniel has that, if I'm not mistaken, the original Clone Wars one is bigger than this one.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bigger, and you can fit 2 people in the cockpit, and so you can a little more going on. The fact that this one only fits a single character and it's a shuttle, that's a little rough, especially because it's a main location basically in the show and one of the most important ships. It's almost in every episode, so giving this more of a flagship treatment maybe would have been warranted. But otherwise, it looks really nice.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool. It's what you said about they can only fit 1 person in the cockpit. That's kind of crazy to me. Looking at it looked really good in the show. Looking at the show picture, it looks really cool, clean, big, and detailed, which doesn't quite come off in the Lego set as much. So I'm not too sure about this one.
The crazy thing is they built actual scale models out of plastic for the show, and they filmed those, so that's why they look so good for most of these ships.
Oh, wow.
And so it's funny that it went from being a plastic toyish type thing to the big screen and back to plastic toyish thing. Yeah, something maybe it was lost in translation there, but still looks really nice.
Do you think this didn't translate as well as the previous set?
I think this one looks a lot better. I think the colors are really great. The detailing is a lot better than the previous Clone Wars one. The fact that it was scaled down, that's a little frustrating.
I'm just talking about like the E-Wing that we just looked at. I think the E-Wing looks a lot more accurate than this one does.
I agree. Yeah, the previous set translated a little better and because it's better scaled too. Like the E-Wing is basically exactly scaled to minifigure how it would be to a human,
right.
Whereas this they shrunk down a lot more.
Yeah, that's probably it. Looking at the figures though, I don't know. Maybe just disregard what I said about that set having the best figures per capita. Maybe it's because after watching the show, I'm a complete hater on Sabine and Ahsoka and how weird their writing and relationship and characters were. This one has Hu Yang, who was the GOAT, voiced by David Tennant, and Marok, who was a really cool, mysterious character. And those 2 figures on the right are really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing all the premium treatment they got. Of course, Hu Yang is much tanner. He's been seeing a little more sun than his on-screen counterpart, but the molded head is fantastic. And he was such a main character, more than we could have predicted. So the fact that he gets such a good treatment here is really nice.
Yeah,
and Marok, even though it's just some...
Is that a custom helmet for Marok?
Yeah, brand new just for him. And so the fact that he got it, and he was just some mercenary guy in the movie, maybe powered by witch magic. It's kind of crazy. But...
Yeah, we don't know too much about him. But that I feel like those shoulder pads could have even worked on Balin's character, maybe. But something like that would have been nice. That's one of the coolest looking figures of the whole wave, if not the number one, is the Marok figure, which is pretty not pretty unbig character for the show, but really, really cool minifigure. And Ahsoka, I guess she looks okay. And Sabine, she sucks.
The figure's great. The wildest choices in the show, though, it's hard to understand. No consequences for actions, and then just like getting the Force out of nowhere. But crazier things have happened. The Ahsoka figure looks really great, though.
Yeah, it does. I'm looking at the comparison between the character posters and the figures, and you're right. Hu Yang is really different shade. He still looks really cool as a figure. You still can tell that he's Hu Yang from the Clone Wars also, but man, he's like silver in the show. Sabine looks accurate enough with her little pixie cut, and Marok just looks fantastic. Overall, what would you give this T6 shuttle in hindsight?
7, because the figures I think carry this set for sure.
Okay, so we're a little bit below the E-wing for Daniel and
I
Daniel's.
love all of these sets. That's so, and these are all great ratings. I'm just saying, like comparing the relevance to the show to the treatment they got.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. The biggest one of the series is called Ghost and Phantom 2. Okay. Cool, I guess. Literally. Okay, this one's actually got the worst figure. I was completely wrong. I think the T6 shuttle got the best one because they got those two goated ones. But man, Ghost and Phantom. What do you think about this after seeing it in the show?
It's awesome. I think it really had a big, like, presence in the show. Not necessarily that it was just a huge important thing in the show, but it really was a really cool looking ship in the show. They really pulled it off really well. It's a little darker gray, but I'm really glad they went for this kind of white, brighter, colorful look for the Ghost. In comparison to like the previous Ghost from Rebels set, this one is, I think, far and above better, pretty much every way. And so I love it.
You're right about the ship being more gray. It looks more like Millennium Falcon color in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's around like dark lighting and whatnot, but the set is fun to have in white and colors.
It is, and the fact that it includes the Phantom 2 in it is awesome. That kind of fits right into the ship. It's really cool.
In Rebels. I'm so sick of the Ghost and the Phantom and all their little expeditions. The Phantom is just a plot device so they can transport with side plot, whatever. Looking at the minifigures, okay. Number one, hashtag justice for Jason. Why is his hair brown? Literally, why is his hair brown? Hera Syndulla in the middle here. She had a baby with a Jedi man who had brown hair, and their baby came out to look like this. You see this character poster here. Basically, it looks just like a human, but with green hair. That's the only trait he inherited from his mother. And they couldn't have given it to the minifigure. The only thing that could have made sense is that the concept art had brown hair because they make the Lego sets off the concept art, and they made the choice later on to be like, oh, he should have green hair, like a trait from his mom.
Yeah, but that one doesn't even make any sense because it's not a new character for this show. He was in the end of the Rebels series years ago, and he had green hair, like bright green hair. And so it's so bizarre that they changed it to brown for the set, even though they knew he had green hair already.
What? No way, he already had green hair. That's crazy. But figures-wise, if you look at Hera Syndulla in minifigure form in live action, they almost nailed the translation between the two. Like, she has the bomber jacket with the fuzz around the neck. You can even see her goggles on top of her hat. Looks really good in my opinion.
No, she's great, but definitely the best minifig in the wave, or in this set. Sorry.
Yeah, and then we got what is that? Admiral Akbar's son.
Who knows? Lieutenant Beta and something Hawkins. I mean, they look extremely faithful to their on-screen appearance, like to the T, exactly how they look. So
why do they keep giving the insignificant characters the best minifigures? Okay,
it's weird. Maroc and these two guys just look amazing. They're like so faithful. And then Jason gets brown hair.
Jason, hashtag justice for Jason. We love Jason on this show. Hashtag Jason. Jason cast.
Hashtag Jason.
Anyways.
Hashtag.
And then, of course, we have Chopper. Chopper looks cute and quaint, and he's okay. It was weird seeing these zany Rebels characters in live action. Their quirk didn't translate over whatsoever. The whole vibe of the show was kind of awkward, in my opinion. If you did like the show, I want to know if you did and what you liked about it, because I'd be very curious. And if you're a Star Wars fan, because Daniel and I have a lot of discussions about this. Now,
I generally, yeah.
What would you rank the Ghost?
9, because the build and the ship, it looks so beautiful. It's so great, and the figures are really good for what we got. It's just not the most meaningful group of figures. Otherwise, it would have been a 10.
Right. So for Daniel, it goes the Ghost is number 1, the E-Wing is number 2, and the T6 shuttle is number 3. Do you agree with that list, or is it flipped? I think that's a fair enough assessment. For me, I'd probably do E-Wing first, actually, to get those Shin Hati and Balin figures, and the ships both look really accurate to the show and look legit. Then maybe the Ghost and the T6 shuttle. I think that's the only one I'd even consider. So yeah, what did you think about the show overall, Daniel? And did it make you more excited for the Legos or less excited when we first saw them before the show?
I think there was a lot of excitement before the show came out. It's like, wow, what could all of these mean? What could all these characters be doing? A lot of anticipation in the show. I generally enjoyed the show. Mostly episodes 4, 5, 6. The other ones dragged and just made weird character choices. But like 4, 5, and 6 were so solid and were so awesome and so cool that it made the first couple episodes and the last ones harder to enjoy in comparison. So it's just weird because it's a mixed bag. It's not like mostly unenjoyable like Obi-Wan was or Boba Fett was, or mostly enjoyable like Andor was, for me at least. It's like a little of both worlds. Really bizarre.
That's a kind of a good way of putting it, where Obi-Wan was completely like, and then Andor was completely really exciting. There was those exciting moments in the show when they showed up to Thrawn and they had Night Sisters and they had Night Troopers and they had new zany creatures. That was the peak for me, was that episode when those all showed up. But yeah, the ending didn't really do anything. I know it's a lead up and everything. Characters writing was weird. I would just like to see in the future, if they do make more Ahsoka Lego sets, make with the cool characters that were in the show. Thrawn, the Night Troopers, and the Night Sisters. I know they couldn't do that because that'd be spoilers and they're going off preconceptual art. If you do on the future, I think that's what they should do.
Yeah. Captain Enoch, the gold-faced guy, also.
Yes.
And the crab people, because apparently ended up being very important. And Ezra. Those are kind of the main ones you
I
need.
just realized there's no Ezra minifigure. Well, Ezra, he was just weird. We could talk a long time about our thoughts on the show, and I hope everyone doesn't mind if we want to, intertwine our thoughts on the show with our Lego opinions as well, because that's what we're passionate about. Give us some more cool Star Wars sets that are original. Actually, give us some better Star Wars movies and TV shows first off. Why don't you?
I would say as a whole, though, this wave is so great because you can get almost all the figures that you would want from the show. Those are, they're evenly distributed for the most part. So every set has some really desirable ones. And all the ships, there's no like wasted side build. It's all useful stuff. And I think that's something a lot of sets and themes could learn from, instead of just having these random little side builds and stuff that you just throw in the Lego bin. Have these things like where every aspect of the set matters. All the figures are solid, all of the ships are solid. This whole wave was just one of the best Star Wars waves in a really long time, I'd say.
That was a very smart assessment. Everything has meaning and is meaningful, and there is no malarkey associated. Well, that about concludes it. Let us know if you had any different opinions, and make sure you just super smash that like button and bombard that subscribe button to this channel. And we're going to do more LEGO Marvel Star Wars videos. We're about to go watch Loki Season 2, so wish us luck.
Thank you.